everyone, welcome to Stepping Stones Consultants and a more in-depth look into our pre-kindergarten program that we will be running this summer. So what does our program offer? What we offer, or what differs about our program from others, is that we have the insight from the perspective of our autistic consultant on all aspects of our program. We will provide intake meetings with all parents with our board-certified behavior analyst. We have individualized instruction from BC certified teachers. We have an adapted curriculum that was created by BC certified teachers based on the BC curriculum. Behavior assessments will be conducted by our BCBA. Every child will go home with a take-home package that will support them beyond our program. That will include educational assessments across the 6 areas of development that we will be focusing on, behavior progress summary reports, all about me infographics, sensory and self-regulation tools, and future recommendations of successful strategies. Our program is Monday through Friday, July 2nd to August 29th, with the exception of August 4th, which is BC Day. It is 3 hours per day, 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And on Fridays, we have Family Fridays. So families are welcome to come in for the first 30 minutes. It's completely optional, but they're welcome to come in and observe how we interact and play with their child, and of course, engage and interact with their kids as well. And we offer a high staff to child ratio. So we have 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 support with experienced behavior interventionists. The entire cost for the program, including the take-home package, is $5,250, and it is directly billable to AFU. Our staff. Now, as you can see on the right, we aren't yet confirmed with our behavior interventionists, but we will have people from our staff who will be a part of the program. On the left, you'll see myself, Carolyn Sorial. I'm the clinical director, and I will be the classroom teacher. In the middle there is Kenzie Kirby. She is our autistic consultant. And then on the right is Joanna Rowe, our board-certified behavior analyst. Our curriculum. So as I said, we will focus on 6 areas of development. Social, academic, which is broken down into literacy and numeracy, communication, emotional regulation, managing transitions and routines, and engagement with learning. So under social, what we're looking for, or across the board, what we're looking for in our curriculum is the following. Under social, I can actively participate with peers in activities. For example, playing group games, engaging in conversations with classmates, and so on, to the best of my ability. I can interact with adults by asking questions, seeking help when needed, or engaging in brief conversations. I can recognize and respond to social cues, for example, knowing when to say hello or ask for help, that engage me to the best of my ability and in ways that are meaningful to me. So for example, giving a high five instead of waving. Academic literacy. I can show my awareness of phonics by recognizing different sounds in spoken language. Example, identifying initial sounds in words. I can recognize and name some letters of the alphabet, uppercase and lowercase. I can recognize my name in print and some common words, for example, I, mom, no, and so on. I can practice my early writing skills by mark making and trying to write my name, basic letters, and or simple words. For those of you who may not be familiar, mark making is drawing lines, drawing circles, basically drawing out the simple shapes that form the letters, different letters. Academic numeracy, I can recognize and name some numbers from 1 to 10, and I understand how much each number represents. I can count objects, matching each object with a number, 1-to-1 correspondence, and understand the basic idea of counting. Communication, verbal and non. I can advocate for myself. I can use communication that is accessible to me, such as words, AAC, and or gestures to communicate what I need, want, and how I feel. For those of you who aren't familiar, AAC stands for Alternative and Augmentative Forms of Communication. So that can be things like touch chat on their iPad or pictures. I can apply school social expectations by using kind words, taking turns when talking, and respecting personal space when I'm with others. I can begin to have reciprocal, simple conversations with others by using communication that is accessible to me. Emotional regulation. I can recognize and name different feelings like happy, sad, angry, etc. by using pictures or facial expressions. I can practice and apply strategies, for example, deep breathing, taking breaks, using sensory tools, etc., to handle challenging situations or sensory sensitivities. I can tell others about my feelings and needs in appropriate ways. I can use communication that is accessible to me to show how I feel to adults and peers. I can ask for a brain or body break when I need it. I can do this by using communication that is most accessible to me. Managing transitions and routines. I can transition between different activities smoothly when front-loaded, example from play to circle time, by following visual and verbal cues with support. I can cooperatively follow simple 1 to 2 step instructions to the best of my ability. I can follow daily routines, for example, upon arrival, snack time, upon leaving, when my brain is in a regulated state. I can do this with or without support from visuals, sensory aids, or other materials. And finally, engagement with learning. I can work on maintaining attention during teacher-led lessons with the use of visual supports, for example, PECs, visual timers, etc., and implementing self-regulation strategies to help me manage. I can try new activities even for a short time. I can participate in circle time by staying in my spot, following along with my teacher, and regulating my body using sensory tools. I can respond to questions or prompts during teacher-led activities, example story time, to the best of my ability. So like I said, these are things that we would look for at the end of our program and things that we would be supporting children through all throughout our program. Our space. So on the left, you will see the main preschool space. It's a really lovely area. It's a really lovely space. So on the left, you'll see the PE equipment. So we are lucky to have indoor PE equipment. We have a slide, an elliptical, trampoline, and a bike. In the middle there is where we do our academics. On the right, you'll see circle time. In the right bottom corner, you'll see it's an emotions board. So we have different emotions. You can see there in the corner, if you can kind of read it, it says, I feel tired. So we have different large pictures of facial expressions showing different emotions, and it's the first thing they see when they come in. The room to the right is the calm down room, so children have access to that at all times, and it is embedded in our weekly schedule, which I will go over shortly. In the back there is the washrooms. Just to the back there, to the left of the washrooms, that door leads to where we go to the playground, which is completely enclosed. So if your child elopes, that's totally fine. They have nowhere to go. The playground is totally surrounded by fence, and of course we're always with them, but just in case, they're good. And in the back to the left is more of a play area. So the play areas are quite large. You can't see it pictured here right now, but to the right of the room is where they have their snack. And then on the right, the picture on the right is just a more in-depth, or just a look inside the calm down room. So we always have just some kind of calming visual projected onto the wall. We have furniture in there. We have a spinning chair in there, so that they can, if they need some spinning output, they can do that. It's called an egg chair. It also closes in case they kind of want to be on their own. And we always have some calming music playing all throughout the program. So our weekly schedule, basically we do the same thing every single day. We have a very set routine, and it works well. The kids know what to do. The only difference is Fridays, which I will get to. So Monday through Thursday, we have morning routine, which consists of them coming into the class. They hang up their backpack and their jacket. They do so either independently or with support. And then they go to the washroom to wash their hands. And then they have soft start. Soft start is the time for them to kind of just get ready for the day. They play a preferred activity, might be puzzles, might be cars, might be some kind of like game. It can really be anything, the train set. It can really be any kind of toy or game that they would like to play. Then we transition to circle time. So circle time is teacher-led. We kind of do the same thing during circle time. Again, just maintaining that routine. We sing the alphabet song together with visuals. I've created some AAC books. So those are kind of like interactive books that have Velcroed pictures that the students are able to kind of match to the different pictures as we're going through and reading them. We talk about the weather, we might read some other kind of book, and we go over what we're going to do for the day. Then they have a very short indoor PE time where they use the equipment that I talked about on the previous slide. Then we go to the bathroom, we wash our hands. If any of our kiddos are getting support with toileting, this is where we would also support them to use the bathroom or change their diaper if needed. And then we go outside and they have their snack, and then we go outside for playtime. When we come back in, we transition directly into the calm down room. We have self-regulation embedded in our schedule that we do every single day. But like I said, they always have access to the calm down room. So if they're having a hard time, or if they just want like a dimly lit area and they want to play in there, they're always welcome to go in there anytime. But this is the embedded time that we have. So during self-regulation time, we do some sort of facilitated calming strategies. So that might be deep breathing, squeezing hands, drinking water, asking somebody nearby for a hug. And then we will play like a yoga video, which they tend to really enjoy and encourage them to follow along with. Then we transition back out into the main area. We go to the table and we do some kind of academics. So we alternate every day between literacy and numeracy activities, and I'll go over them in more detail in a second. Then we have facilitated playtime. So this is similar to Soft Start, except in this period we might facilitate a turn-taking game between 2 or more kiddos, and then they get picked up. The only difference for Friday, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is that Family Friday is in the morning for the first half hour, so you're welcome to join us for Soft Start essentially. And then in our academic for that day is art. So we're cutting, pasting, coloring, doing some kind of visual art, and then it gets put up in our classroom. So I already kind of talked about the morning routine and circle time. Literacy consists of various activities that support with phonemic and letter awareness and early writing skills. So for example, using loose parts and sensory activities like in the rice pit or the sandbox to create letter shapes, drawing lines, singing alphabet songs, which we do every day anyways, and identifying the letters in their name. I talked about PE, I'll jump to numeracy. So these are activities to support their ability to recognize and name numbers 1 through 10, count and match. So again, using loose parts and sensory activities to create numbers, drawing lines, and matching numbers to corresponding pictures. And then facilitated playtime, I talked about it a little bit, but we support variation in play, which means using a toy in more than one way. Imaginative play, so playing pretend, functional play, using a toy for its intended purpose, and then facilitating simple turn-taking games like Pop-Up Pirate or Don't Break the Ice or Marble Run, something like that. And as I already mentioned, they have full access to movement, self-regulation, and sensory breaks anytime they need it throughout the day. So here's an example of some of the things that are included in our behavior summary report. So it includes the purpose of the program, a client summary, just some basic information about the kiddo, their behavior assessment, the teaching strategies that were used, some challenging behaviors, and we include graph data, and then their pattern throughout the program. So as you can see there's throwing, non-compliance, and self-injurious behaviors. We track specific challenging behaviors that each child has. So if your child doesn't throw things out of frustration, they wouldn't have a throwing graph. But these are just examples to kind of show you the trends across the summer. And then the final assessment summary, which includes progress and outcomes. This is an example of an All About Me infographic. So as I said, this also is part of our take-home package. This is just an example. John is not a real child. So it is just a sheet that you can pass on to schools or daycares or what have you that your child will be attending after our program. So John is in our preschool class. It's a little introduction about him. Hi, my name is John. I'm a 5-year-old boy in your class with autism spectrum disorder. That means I have a hard time with communication and with understanding other people's emotions. I'm mostly non-speaking and I learn, play, and move around in different ways. Of course, we change these based on each child. They're very individualized. So like I said, this is just an example, but we would list some of their favorite things that they need to help them, and then things that they may struggle with. And then that QR code that you see there leads to a YouTube video that is an animated video about autism. It's a fantastic video. I recommend that you watch it. You may have seen it before. It's really fantastic, and it just kind of simplifies what autism might mean, and in an animated form. Here is some feedback from our program last year. So last year was the first year that we ran the program. So these are just some reviews and some feedback that we had either on Google or via email. I won't read them all, but the general kind of feeling from our families was that their children really developed quite a lot. I had families asking if we had afternoon classes as well. I also had families asking if we ran programs throughout the entire year, not just in the summer. Recently, a family reached out to me that attended last year asking if we had any programs for spring break this year, which maybe in the future, hopefully that would be a lovely thing. So definitely have a look at our reviews if you're unsure. But we did have a lot of success in it, and it really exceeded my expectations even for what I thought was going to happen. So I want to talk about some comparable programs, which I think is important. I always tell families you should, do your homework, do your research, shop around. You may find a program that works better for you. But I just want to compare even for cost, because last year a lot of families felt like our program was quite expensive, though I don't think we did a very good job of explaining what our program offered, which is the point of this whole video. So for this one, this is REACH Autism Program. It's a school readiness program, so it's 4 hours per week over a 4-month period. However, they do have requirements for children in order to be able to attend this program. So they need to be able to understand and follow directions, make choices, sit at a table, play with toys, participate in activities with peers, and then be able to transition. We obviously don't have those requirements. Those are the things that we are working on with your kiddo. And their program is just shy of $3,000 a month. So in total for the 4 months, it's just shy of $12,000. For a total over the 4 months of 64 hours. So our program is about 60 hours for the 2 months, just to kind of give you an idea. And then the ABA Learning Center Life Skills Summer Camp. This is for an older age group from 8 to 18 years old, so a bit different, but similar in the way that the program is structured. So their program is also 3 hours. It's twice or 3 days a week in July and August. They also have prerequisite skills that are required for participation in the program. So able to communicate basic needs, use the toilet independently, and not have any significant problem behaviors or safety concerns. So again, we don't have any prerequisites. These are things that we are supporting your children through. I couldn't find the cost of this program, but if you are interested, there's the website. Daybreak Consulting has another kind of similar program, but it's once a week for 2 hours for $75. And it is also a getting ready for kindergarten type program. If you're interested in other programs or camps that are happening across the Lower Mainland in the summer, you can visit the Autism BC website for a list, and there's the website. And if you have any questions about our program, please reach out. Our contact information is in the caption below, and it would be a pleasure to hear from you. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions or are interested or would just like some more information, please give me a call at 778-552-3055, or you can reach out to me via email at cSorial@steppingstonesconsultants.ca or through our website, www.steppingstonesconsultants.ca. Thanks, and I hope to see you and your kiddos this summer. Bye.